This is episode 42 of the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast with CEO of Delta Life Fitness, Josh Cherry.
It's a people business. I want to make everybody healthier. I want to share this feeling that I have with everybody whenever I eat clean and work out and move and I'm not sedentary. I feel amazing. So I want everybody to know about it. That's almost our downfall. We try to fit all of our programs to 8 to 80. CrossFit gyms, no hate on CrossFit gyms, but they're the worst. They're always trying to say CrossFit's for everyone, when they would have more success if each individual CrossFit gym would pick a target demographic that they serve best and then put all of their time and resources into serving that client. We've decided that at Delta Life Fitness. We do not serve 8 to 80.
Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. I am your host, Josh Trent, and this is your number one trusted resource for the accelerating world of fitness technology. Each week, we bring you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You'll gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse of what matters most for your fitness business in the age of exponential technologies. In episode 42, we tap the roots of what technology is making an impact on the floor of one of the fastest growing studios in our space, Delta Life Fitness, with their CEO, Josh Cherry. So in our previous episodes around fitness studios and making fitness fun through tech and gamification with Lindsey Rainwater and Shannon Fable, we talked about what various cloud-based solutions and tactical approaches are important to create that enhanced user experience. But on today's podcast, we take an even deeper dive into what is driving this growth of the up-and-coming franchise, utilizing data sets for an outside-the-box gamification fitness experience for this growing niche of female-focused training. You'll learn from Josh in this episode how Delta Life is using a digital leaderboard in the lobby of all their locations to harness the social contagion factor for their female members that will engage them outside the four walls and create the emotional hook to make better choices in the other 23 hours of their day. You'll also learn some of the biggest lessons that Josh experienced firsthand in growing Delta Life from a hot asphalt parking lot to just a few years later having multiple successful facilities nationwide. What are those three pillars that gamification needs for success in all studios they can deploy? How the utilization of private Facebook groups is shifting customer expectations when it comes to human connection, and why Josh believes that a digital assessment for posture and client intake is pivotal to convert a new member into a lifelong customer. So with all the technology solutions out there that claim to gamify the fitness studio experience, what are the most powerful actions that leading edge facilities are taking through technology? The answer to that question and much more takeaways for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals in this episode with Josh Cherry. Josh Cherry is the director of franchising and co-founder at Delta Life Fitness, a women's-only group training workout segment into intervals of cardiovascular and strength training. By incorporating the science of the female metabolism, Delta Life's training is specifically designed to maintain a target zone that stimulates metabolism and increases energy. Josh spent almost 14 years in the Marine Corps before helping co-found this female-focused boutique studio and then graduated from Texas A&M University. Josh Cherry, welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, I've had the pleasure of a couple conversations with you around this fitness studio space, how to gamify it. We talked about this on episode 16 with Lindsey Rainwater, using fitness tech to increase the experience. But today, really, we're going into what's the nuts and bolts on the ground. So super excited to have you on the show. I want to jump right in. How did you actually found Delta Life? This is a unique story. You were in the Marine Corps for quite some time.
Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps. I was what we call a PTI, a physical training instructor, helping get young Marines ready to deploy or go off to officer candidate school. And a group of my son's Cub Scout moms came up to me and said, hey, why don't you run a similar program for us right here in the school parking lot where we meet up for Cub Scouts and train us just like you do for your young Marines. And so we threw one right there in the parking lot. Just moms came out, and that was way back in 2008, 2009, and it just kind of grew from there.
And I think really when we look at the dedication it takes to be in the service, looking back, how do you think that applied to what we're going to talk about today with your creations at Delta Life?
That's the one thing I talk about a lot. Like, in order to grow anything, a business, people that are out there trying to grow a club, college almost prepares us to be perfection minded, right? Like, the paper's got to be perfect before you turn it in. Whereas in the Marine Corps, we have to get the job done with what we have. And a good plan executed violently today is better than a perfect plan executed halfway 2 weeks from now, right? So I think that was the main difference. Like, the Marine Corps set me up for that by just teaching me that let's get it done and we'll improve it. One once we get version 1 out there, and you hear it all the time in the business world, right? Like, just get it done, get it to the market, and then we can adjust. And the Marine Corps really taught me that. And I think it gave me a pretty big advantage because you look at Delta Life, what it is today compared to that free boot camp in the park with Cub Scout moms. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I would have had the perfection mindset right from the beginning.
Let's unpack this. What exactly is Delta Life? Who are you? What do you stand for? What do you do?
So at Delta Life, our primary mission is to empower women to be the best versions of themselves. It's really become just a movement to help women move more, get in the exercise, and eat a little better, because that's really all it takes. And we're here to educate women and empower them to be the best versions of themselves. The way we do that is with our Tone and Torch workouts and just like you said, gamifying. And we've made it fun again for women to work out, right? Like it's not this strict calorie counting regime. And you ask what it is. It's really, for everybody listening, it's kind of like a curves exploded with an Orange Theory and then mixed in with a CrossFit gym.
And you've been able to grow this to 22 units across the United States since 2009, first location, College Station in Texas. What was it like looking back? What would you have changed opening that first location for all the operators that are listening?
Oh my goodness. Everybody tells you, I did everything back then. I tried to train. I was a purist. So much of us in the fitness industry, we get so wrapped around, no, I've got to be the one here training. I've got to be the one giving everything. And you know what happens is we help a lot less people, Josh, when we avoid taking on the business side and learning marketing and sales. And then also, holding clients accountable. Like, if you don't pay your monthly gym fees, you can't have access to the club. We're probably the worst industry at that, right? Like, we forgive people. We try to be a charity, just let whoever come. And then what happens is the facility doesn't make enough money to be able to grow and help more people. And then nobody values free anyway. So if I could go back, I would have treated it more like a real business from day one. And I would have respected the value that I was giving people way early on, because I had to learn that, like everybody in the fitness industry, the hard way over years and years and years.
I think what's really unique too is that you've taken technology to a whole new level. We're going to dive into this later on with how to use these data sets to gamify. But how would you actually define this gamification, Josh, as it exists right now in the fitness industry? I mean, it's a term that gets thrown around a lot. We're going to gamify the experience. But what does that actually mean to you? How do you define gamification in fitness?
Yeah. So Josh, like you said, me and you've had a lot of talks on this. And the secret to me is that, what made CrossFit so successful, like when they really had their boom, was a very primal way of gamifying. My name's on the whiteboard. And then it created this whole market in the background where people could make digital whiteboards where we could all put our scores up, and we can, we made a game out of fitness, and it made it fun for us, and it made it something to track. And it wasn't just going to the gym and not seeing tangible data, tangible results, and not making it fun. And it's really easy to get wore out or bored with fitness if it's not gamified. So gamifying has to happen both inside the four walls, whatever the workout is you're doing. Orange Theory's done a great job of this with gamifying it with your heart rate monitors being up on the TV. But it also has to be gamified, like what's going on the other 23 hours that you're not in the gym. How long in the fitness industry have we been telling people, get plenty of sleep, take 10,000 steps a day, make sure we're eating the right things, and drink plenty of water? Well, how many different ways have we tried to get people to actually do that by logging it in journals? I mean, there's probably a $1 billion industry in journaling, right? And all of us that are fitness owners and club operators, we know it's almost impossible to get them to continue to keep up with those journals. So unless you can come up with a fun way to, like you said, gamify it, it just doesn't happen. But that gamification has to happen to build in the accountability so we can get the clients the results they need.
In April of this year, Club Solutions magazine, you're quoted, "It became a big mission to just empower women. We also decided in order to have more success in business, instead of just trying to help everyone, we needed to focus on one group of people." How important was that? Can you uncover that a little bit deeper?
Again, I think this is one of the biggest things that's, everybody says it, like 22 locations, what seems like like overnight. I think this is one of the areas that we did that a lot of young fitness businesses don't do. Everybody in the fitness business, because we're so passionate about helping people, like it's a people business. I want to make everybody healthier. I want to share this feeling that I have with everybody whenever I eat clean and work out and move and I'm not sedentary. I feel amazing. So I want everybody to know about it. That's almost our downfall. We try to fit all of our programs to 8 to 80. CrossFit gyms, no hate on CrossFit gyms, but they're the worst. They're always trying to say CrossFit's for everyone when they would have more success if each individual CrossFit gym would pick a target demographic that they serve best and then put all of their time and resources into serving that client. We've decided that at Delta Life Fitness. We do not serve 8 to 80 men, women, and children. We know exactly who we serve, and we spend all of our time trying to identify the needs of our clients and building a program specifically designed to maximize the metabolism of our Delta Life ladies. We don't want to train everybody. We're building one program for one specific person. And by doing that, we can really serve that one person well.
And this specificity, I think you're right. A lot of times trainers even might miss the mark, where we've had previous guests on the show that talk about trainers really going down a niche avenue of, look, I work with special populations. I'm a trainer who specializes in mobility. I'm a trainer that really gets people in strength and conditioning. How important for fitness professionals that work at any type of studio. We'll talk about gamifying in a second here, but for the specificity angle, do you believe that trainers will all have to specify in the future, or will there always be a place for a 360-degree kind of general fitness professional?
It depends on your goals, right? Like if I just want to have 2 or 3 clients that I work with, then I'll just take Uncle Joe and Aunt Sally and Mrs. Jones, and I can generally just show them how to eat better and move more, right? But if I want to really win at scale, and if I want to be able to compete in this noisy marketplace, and if I want to be able to put ads on Facebook and actually get to be able to break through the noise and have people click on an ad, because you can't say, I'm going to get you in the best shape of your life. Everybody says that, right? So unless if you want to win at scale and get clients and help more people, you've got to have a niche so that you can write your target market demographics into your advertising on Facebook and really pull in the people that you can best serve.
Wow. And really, this applies so much, Josh, to the fitness studio. We look at these small studios, even the mid-tier and large. There has to be this specificity around training, kind of like, we're all wired for a tribe, right? So the tribe has to feel like they're a fit there. How do you gamify your tribe? What does that look like for on-the-ground examples at Delta Life?
Yeah. So for the gamification piece specific, I know you guys have had the Nudge guys on before. I think a lot of apps work this way with the way the technology is, when everybody has a Fitbit. Everybody's workplace is doing these step challenges. You got to look at what the market's kind of already educated to and then gamify that. At Delta Life, we use the Slide Right app, which is a white label version of the Nudge app. And everybody's wearable tech is linked right to the app. But that wasn't enough. You don't get enough engagement with just a one-off user being able to see how many steps they're taking a day on an app. Even when we built in, Josh, this is interesting, even when we would build in automatic text messages to the client when they wouldn't get their 10,000 steps, it didn't matter. They still weren't getting the 10,000 steps. They didn't care that this one coach was texting them saying, hey, I'm tracking you with technology. You're not getting the results you said in order to get the results you want, right? Yeah. It still didn't matter until we kind of came up with something that's really, really cool. We've got, when you walk into the lobby of our Delta Life gyms, we've got a leaderboard on the wall. And it takes the data that's coming from Susie's Fitbit and onto her Slide Right app. We've created a leaderboard, and it's tracking all the ladies and all their steps throughout the month. And when you walk into the gym and in the lobby, you've got this big screen TV that's tracking everybody's steps and who's in first place. And it's just a scrolling leaderboard of the late. And plus, also, if you didn't have that sisterhood, like you said, maybe that's not as important. But now we can set up challenges 3 times a year where we're doing step challenge, blue team versus pink team, right? And these women that we're serving, they come together and they meet up at the park on the weekend, and they're finally getting their steps that we've been preaching for so long. They're coming together as a sisterhood. They're getting them done because when they walk into the gym, they want to feel good. They want to see their name on the leaderboard. That's working better than one-on-one accountability from the coaches.
And one of the things that we see with gamification, if the customer has to put in too much data, it's not fun. So if we're looking to gamify this situation, there has to be, in your words, zero customer data input. How powerful has this been for Delta Life, this zero input from the customer?
Yeah, you know I'm big on this, Josh. And if I could ask the market for one thing, it would be produce more things that automate that process of data entry, right? That's the one thing, because if you make people have to log their entries or write down what they're eating or track their calories or write down their steps, it just doesn't work. You have to have this data and this gamification. It has to be automated. I mean, that's what's made MyZone work so well. You walk into the gym, you do your workout, your results are displayed on the screen while you're in there. When you leave the class, you're getting emailed, especially today, right? Like millennials, we all want it. We want the instant data. We want the instant feedback on what we're doing. And you just can't do that if you've got to input the data yourself. So the Slide Right app, the Nudge app that we're white labeling, it's got so many options. We are only gamifying and using leaderboards on automated. We've thought about, because you could do the leaderboard for anything, who eats the most fruit. But until we get to a point where that's automatically put in there, it's just not going to happen, right? It's just not going to happen. So steps is one. I think we're there with water. You and I have talked about this. We could get there very easily with the digital water bottles that are tracking how much water you drink a day. Sleep is one of those ones that's kind of iffy, right? Like every Fitbit, every Apple Watch kind of monitors when you went to sleep and when you woke up a little differently. But that one's getting there too. I could talk on and on about this for hours and hours, but it's got to be, you have to gamify these habits that we want our clients to do. You have to gamify the habits that we want our clients to do, and you've got to make the gamification of that automated.
Because really what we're talking about here is social contagion. So whether you've heard of Gretchen Rubin and emotional contagion, there's social contagion as well. For example, we see a video on Facebook with 4 million views. We're more likely to click on it than if it has 1,000 views. And the same thing applies to healthy habits. So can you unpack for us how you're driving healthy habits with technology specifically? What we heard from you earlier is that you have leaderboards. Is there anything else you use when we look at habit reformation with tech?
We deliver all of our content now through the app as well, and we've gotten away from trying to teach ladies, because we've done it like everybody else. We give people meal plans. We give them rigid little parameters they have to stay in. I'll tell you, Josh, I know me and you've talked about this before. Habits is really the best way to teach people nutrition. Telling them this diet or that diet or anything else, it's all about habits. And when you teach people habits are then trackable, right? Like how many times you eat a day, not overeating. That you can really have a lot of fun gamifying those certain things. Different ways we've done it in the interim until we get the data that until we get some of the stuff figured out with being able to take a picture of my food and it uploads all my macros. I can't wait till they nail that. I think there's some that are close, but as soon as they nail that, that'll be awesome. In the meantime, we have private Facebook groups for all of our gyms and all of our ladies. This is interesting for all the gym owners. We had a lady wanting to leave our facility and go train somewhere else, and the question she asked the new facility was, do they have a private Facebook group? Because it's like you said, they like the social aspect. So when we run these challenges and we gamify things, whether you have an app yet, just something that anybody can do, when we run a challenge, we just ask ladies to take a picture of their 3 meals a day and post that picture in the Facebook group. Anything like that you can do to gamify it puts you ahead, and it's going to help you win.
You operate from 3 pillars of fitness. We know that a lot of times the brain loves the rule of thirds: exercise, nutrition, lifestyle. Exercise and nutrition, we understand. And I think the gamification of that is pretty simplistic through tech. But how do you gamify lifestyle? What does that look like, lifestyle plus technology?
Yeah. So if you don't mind real quick, just where those 3 came from, that comes from all my Marine Corps experience. For those of you that don't know, Marine Corps boot camp is 12 weeks long. And people go into this boot camp for 12 weeks and some of them come out losing like 100 plus pounds, Josh. Their complete transformation in just 12 weeks, right? And so most people think, well, maybe it's just because they exercise nonstop. It's really not. The thing is that when you go to boot camp, you have to walk everywhere you go. You get the sleep you need every night. You eat the 3 meals in the chow hall every day, and then you have your 3 regimented workouts. So if you can do it with all 3 pillars of fitness, you don't have to kill yourself with any one pillar of fitness. Like people who try to just do it with diet or just do it with exercise or just just do with lifestyle. So the way we gamify what we consider lifestyle, Josh, is sleeping, getting proper amount of sleep, getting the proper amount of water, and the proper amount of steps. And I've kept, you could go on and on with lifestyle, and we used to have like 28 things that we talked about with lifestyle, but guess what? You can't easily track those. So that's why we keep it to water, sleep, and steps. That's all we track as far as gamifying lifestyle.
You mentioned that clients don't ever have to be 100%. 70% of all three, exercise, nutrition, lifestyle, will get you the success towards your wellness goals. Why do you think that's true, this 70 versus 100 mentality?
Yeah, we call it our slide right mentality. If you're always just sliding right towards your goals, hence why our app is called the Slide Right app. The reason we say that is because when people, you've read it all, you know the psychology behind the slippery slope. Hey, I'm going to eat right. I'm going to start fresh on Monday. I start this new diet. I mess up one time. I beat myself up so much and I just cash it in and give up. We've seen it all with our clients over and over again. If you teach your clients that it's okay, right? Like there's 3 pillars of fitness, so you can always cover one with the other 2. Something about that psychology just really helps them. So you tell them like, hey, Friday, you're going to have an office party and your boss is going to bring in all that crazy food that you know is going to be horrible for you. He brings in the cheesecake and the hot dog and the chili. Don't kill yourself by having to not enjoy those foods with everybody else. Instead, guess what? You're going to slide left on that pillar today. So make sure you get your 10,000 steps with the lifestyle pillar, and make sure you get your workout in. And then if you get your workout in and your 10,000 steps, one bad meal is not the end of the line. So that's why we say, it's much easier to try to hit all 3 pillars of fitness at 70% than any one of the pillars at 100%. And plus you keep your sanity. We tell everybody, don't put your life on hold to get back in shape. Do what makes sense with your life. Yeah,
and the growth of these studios too. 22 units. Your goal is #200 committed. How do you think you're going to achieve this vision by using technology? 200 facilities.
Yeah, and 200 is just the beginning, right? We have really big dreams. #crush curves. We want to go there. #200 committed. It's just because it's so different, right? When ladies walk in and they see what's going on, first the niche and the safeness of the women's only workout facility and how effective the actual workouts are themselves, they can't help but talk about it. When they're always screenshotting the leaderboard, when they're always taking pictures in front of the leaderboard and showing it to their coworkers, telling everybody about it, if you can gamify the 3 pieces. One, having, we have the thing that happens when they're outside the gym. When they come in, they get the leaderboards. We've got MyZone rocking inside the studio that's giving them instant data feedback on their actual workout. And then using some type of, and then the third piece that you have to use technology for is assessments. You have to have some kind of digital instant feedback. If InBody is a great one. There's several out there. Now with iPads, you can get several 3D scanning body analysis, but you have to have those 3. And really, you can scale those 3 to be pretty simple for your staff to use also. It's a lot better to use an InBody machine versus trying to train every staff member how to use calipers.
It's exciting to see the success you've had by using these different solutions, right? From assessment to gamification to just making fitness fun for these women. But I think sometimes that a lot of club owners, especially new club owners, they might get discouraged when they look at all the tech solutions out there. How can people that are opening a facility or opening multiple facilities or just looking at operating one more efficiently with tech, how can they not feel so discouraged? What are some few actions they can take to cut through the discouragement?
And I think I'm the perfect person to answer that, Josh, because like I told you, a couple of years ago, I was standing in a school parking lot in front of a bunch of Cub Scout moms. I didn't have any of this cool stuff that I'm telling you about now. I didn't have the funding. I didn't have the money to have these kind of things. But I had that Marine Corps mentality of just kind of make it better each time. There are so many tools out there now. Yeah. It's actually the opposite problem. Young people are probably going to be over inundated with which one do I choose? And I would just say keep it simple. Know what makes you different. Find 1 or 2 really cool things that's going to allow you to gamify the process for your clientele. And guess what? It's not going to work perfect the first time. You're going to have to revamp it. But like I said, think about us. A couple of years ago, literally just a couple of years ago, we're standing in parks and school parking lots with no tech whatsoever. And now we have amazing facilities, and we've used tech and gamification for all 3 aspects of the business. So just keep your ear to the wall. And we weren't the guys you thought would innovate on these things, right? You thought the people that have been in the game for all these huge box gyms, LA Fitness would have beat us to it. They didn't. You have more of an advantage if you're a young, hungry entrepreneur. Keep listening to Josh's podcast. Listen for those opportunities as they come down and see what makes sense for your model.
You're taking this across the country, but it's still serving one type of client. And I think that's a big takeaway for today. Whether you use technology or not, the gamification model has to specify. Josh, this is the last round of the show, man. This is 6 questions in our Fit 6 round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So running health clubs, specifically facilities that might have a big reach and create big impact, can be hard work at times. Have you had a difficult moment or a transition moment in your career that you can share with us and how you rose above it?
Yeah, and I'll try to keep this short, Josh. So being in the Marine Corps, we were running one facility in College Station, Texas. Marine Corps called and I had to go off for duty. We had to sell that studio. The studio that we had worked so hard for and built up from nothing, had to sell it. We moved to Florida. We hit a new town. We don't know a soul in it. It's a fresh restart. We've got to completely start over. My wife looks at me and she says, hey, I'm going to go put in an application and work at Chili's. And that was the moment that I had to say, are we going to give up on this fitness dream that we're trying to create with Delta Life and let my wife go work at Chili's? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we knew so much at this point, but we had to start over. So I do know what it's like to create something, be knocked all the way back down to the bottom and having to say, is it worth going through all that again to try to create it from scratch? So that was kind of one of those how bad do we want it moments where we had to really dig deep and commit to starting over from scratch. It was tough. Have you had a book or maybe a few that's helped you grow the most in your fitness career? You know what I like the best is The Go Giver. And we're a little different as I really like to be about business and helping the most people, and you kind of have to change that mentality from just fitness. So I'm not going to give you fitness specific books, but The Go Giver, all-time favorite. Loved just the mentality of the way he thought he could change the world by giving more people the coffee that he believed in instead of trying to make more money. He really believed in changing the world with that cup of coffee, and Go Giver, great book. When we look at the business practices in 2017, 2018, what are the pieces of technology that are really going to help medium-sized fitness businesses thrive? That instant feedback. You have to have it. People want to come in, they want to get their workout. On the drive home, they want to know how many calories they burn, what their heart rate look like. You have to give them screenshotable data that they can share on social media, because it's not worth going to the gym if they can't screenshot it and share with their friends. Do you think that there is something that's changed in 2017, or maybe something that's been heavily requested that you didn't know was coming? Has anything surprised you about requests from these women that go to Delta Life or that you're seeing in the industry? We get a lot of requests all the time for some type of way to automatically count the calories, and I just don't know how that's going to happen. I just don't know. There's a couple of phone apps out there, and I keep getting that request. And if you can figure that piece out and gamify that, it's game over. You win. That's the biggest puzzle piece. How do you gamify nutrition with automated data input? I'm still stumped on that one. That is something that we're seeing a lot too. And there's a company called Neutrino that I've just come across, and they have a partnership with an app that's going to scan food. I don't know the name of it right now, but I know it's on its way, Josh, as far as tech to just have a client take a photo or literally scan their food, and that's zero entry. That's pretty cool. Do you have a secret sauce that a club owner or somebody trying to grow a new facility can put into place, or anything that's really made the recipe come together for you that's going to attract new members to a brand new facility? Other than grit, just never giving up, I think it would have to be that niche marketing. We knew exactly who, like everybody back in the day used to say we were great at Facebook ads because our Facebook ads would perform so well. It had nothing to do with our Facebook ads. We were actually pretty horrible at it. The reason they performed well is because the call to action to the right demographic. If you are listening to this right now and you don't know exactly who you serve and what product they want and how you deliver that product to that specific person better than anybody else in your town, stop everything and just get that nailed. That is such great wisdom right there. And our last question is around this intersection that we stand at on the show and in our space of fitness and tech. What does this mean to you? What are the possibilities you see for both better health and the bottom line for businesses? I'm super pumped about it. Being on this side, I think that the days of us having to go to trainers and them tell us how we can get in better shape, or having to go to doctors and have a checkup, I think those are almost soon behind us. Very, very close. Very, very close. We'll all have these apps similar to Nudge or something on our phones. And when our doctors notice our blood pressure being out of whack, or our cholesterol being out of whack, they're going to call us and say, hey, time to come in for an appointment. You're not looking so well. So watching that shift come from us having to go to the professionals, technology is going to allow the professionals to monitor us and call us when they need us. I'm most excited about that shift.
I'm also excited about the same thing, because when we look at gamification, making fitness fun is one side of the coin. Also, looking at somebody as a whole person, as we talked about with Ted Vicky and Jessica Matthews, this gamification of fitness, Josh, we went into depth on the ground examples, the leaderboards, the customer input being at 0. What are the pieces we missed? Is there anything that we didn't cover that you think is also integral to Delta Life's success?
No, just time, right? We do 30-minute classes, and I think everybody would be, you need to go back and look at your programming if you're going much over 40 minutes. Like, you can the majority of people that we can serve, you can get it done in a short amount of time. And study after study shows that the number one reason people don't stick with a fitness regime is because of time. If you're running an hour plus class and it takes people 30 minutes, we just don't have 2 hours in the day anymore to go work out. So our 30-minute classes have been really big for us, and anybody training, there's no way you can't give anybody on the planet a really great workout in 40 minutes or less. So I think that would be the only thing we may have overlooked.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I personally worked out more than 45 minutes. So I think you're on the right track there. Where can people learn more about you personally and Delta Life?
Yeah, check us out at deltalifefitness.com or deltalifefranchising.com, either one.
Josh Cherry, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Josh.
Josh reminds operators and fit pros that when it comes to choosing tech to gamify your facility's experience, in order to transcend overwhelm, you must keep it simple. Know what makes you different and find 1 or 2 really great things that makes you gamify the process for your niche clientele. Except that it may not work perfectly the first time, and you may have to revamp it a few times to learn what actually works best. It's not just about people, and it's not just about technology, except that it will take time to find the balance between the two. When it comes to moving the needle of profit through gamification, knowing exactly the type of member you are serving and exactly how you want to serve them is paramount. Josh believes whether you use tech or not, that gamification model has to be driven from specificity to succeed. As the tech around fitness and medical services continue to grow, Josh speaks his truth that the days of trainers and doctors only working face-to-face with clients are about to be a thing of the past. Gamification is one of the necessary components of a bigger ecosystem that will provide apps for mobile experience that is 100% seamless based on the data of biometrics. This will allow the professionals to monitor us, the end users, without us frenetically monitoring ourselves. In that same regard of enhanced medical and fitness service delivery models, we also know that it's the intention of saving people time, money, and delivering better health through new tech will always be more powerful than just the technology itself. Thank you for listening to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. Here's a quick message from Brian O'Rourke.
Hello, everyone. This is Brian O'Rourke. Thanks for listening to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. I also want to extend our thanks to Josh and the many, many wonderful professionals who've contributed their time and expertise for free for the health club and fitness industry at large. Wouldn't you like your fitness brand, product, or service to be featured on a podcast like this? I know I would. And that's why the Fitness Industry Technology Council, myself, and our companies like Moon Mission Media, Videri Ventures, and Vertimax, among others, have been underwriting the podcast for the last 9 months. Check the show notes for details and consider becoming a sponsor. It's a great way to reach thousands of industry professionals in the fitness and health club space and be a part of educating people on technology adoption and all the opportunities it's going to provide. So please consider joining us here at the podcast, and we look forward to the many series of podcasts ahead. Thanks so much.